Hello and welcome to the Car Diaries and another Hot Hatch episode, so please go and check out the rest of our Hot Hatch videos in the playlist to the side of this video. So without further ado, we're introducing the 2016 Audi S3. Now this car is actually a facelift car, so it's essentially 17 model year, and this was one of the first cars in the UK on the road. So finished in Audi's Daytona grey metallic paintwork, this car's got a few optional extras as well, which we'll go through in just one moment. So as we work our way around the car, you'll see we've got the 18-inch diamond cut wheels. So that's actually the standard wheels, which I think look stunning in the car. But the owner went for the upgraded red brake calipers. As we then move along the side profile, you'll see we've also got the rear privacy glass, which I think is an absolute must. I would never spec a car without it, and if it didn't have it, I'd make sure I added it on. So with a bit of YouTube magic, and we've spun the car around, and the rear ass of this thing is definitely my favourite part of the S3. So we've obviously got the quad pipes. This car also benefits from a centre resonator deletion, which gives it a bit more noise, which we'll hear once we're out and about on the road. You also notice we've got some nice satin silver lower diffuser areas, which the previous model of S3 didn't have in quite an aggressive format. I think it looks absolutely stunning. And again, rear tail lamps are the main thing for me, so they're the dynamic tail lamps with the dynamic indicators, which I love, the same as you find on my Golf GTI. So stepping inside, and this is where this car really does get that little bit different, we have the Super Sport seats, which come with the diamond quilted leather, which I think looks absolutely stunning. So it's a sort of contrasting white slash grey. And from memory, that was quite an expensive option at the time of specification. We've also got the display in the centre console there, which you can fold away if you're doing some aggressive driving and you don't want that display in the road. And this car doesn't have the digital dash, it's got the standard analog counters, which I actually really like as well. You know, obviously you don't get it on many cars nowadays, everyone's moving towards the digital sort of setup, but I think you can't beat some nice analog rev counters in there. I think it looks really good. And obviously the other main thing to note, which we'll get into in a bit more detail once we're out, is the gearbox. So this is of course the Dsg box, as opposed to a manual gearbox in this. And yeah, makes some really nice pops and bangs. So without further ado, let's get this beast out and see if this can be the new Hot Hatch King. So hello and welcome to the interior of the Audi S3. So we're kicking things off going through town just in efficiency mode, which is one of 5 different modes in the S3. So we've got efficiency, we've got comfort, we have auto, we have dynamic, and we've of course got individual as well, where you can tweak everything to your individual requirements, which is pretty much the same as dynamic mode for me. So what we're going to do is just cruise through it, see what the Dsg Gearbox is like. So obviously dual clutch box in this car, synonymous with Audi and Volkswagen product, and arguably one of the best gearboxes on the market still to this day. For example, we're in 5th gear there doing 25 miles an hour. Nice and quiet. You can probably hear a little purr from the engine at the moment. As I mentioned earlier, this car has the resonator removed, the centre resonator, which makes it a good bit noisier than a standard S3. Rides really nicely as well. So this is a standard S3 suspension as opposed to the optional upgraded adaptive suspension in the car. So what we're going to do now, we're still going through town, so we're not going to go mad, but we're going to change it up a little bit mode wise and just see if there's a difference in noise. So we're going to change from efficiency into dynamic, which automatically changes the gearbox into sport, but I'm going to pull this back into normal drive again. And Kenny, who's my good mate, who's the owner of this car, is currently sitting in the back. He looks very nervous. I think he's shitting himself a little bit there. But we'll drop it down a couple of cogs. Let's. So if you can quite hear that in the video, but some nice burbles. Yes. A chap walking with his dog, giving me some dirty looks there. That's always a good sign. So obviously, as with any hot hatch, practicalities of the car are very important. So S3, 325 litres of boot space, which isn't too bad. You lose a little bit because of the 4-wheel drive Quattro system where it's placed, but yeah, still more than ample. Obviously you have the 60/40 folding rear seats there as well, which you can fold down completely flat for added space. And this car, obviously 5-door variant, 5 seats, and you can, I would say, certainly seat 4 adults more than comfortably. 5 would be a little bit of a squeeze. And important for family and kids, we've got 2 ISOFIX points in the rear too, which makes it nice and easy for fitting child seats and booster seats, which the owner also actually has for driving. Sorry, that's just a short person joke coming from a big lanky tall guy, so don't take that to heart, anyone, please. So yeah, as we're driving through town, we'll talk about some of the boring stuff. So Audi's quoted miles per gallon figure, the average figure is 40.9 miles per gallon, which I'm sure Kenny will agree is, yeah, a very flawed figure. Obviously the manufacturers always try to tell you that the car will be more economical than it actually is. Hashtag VW scandal. But you know, that real world driving, I would say you're probably on a long distance, Kenny, 35 miles per gallon, 30, yeah, probably mid 30s. If you're blasting around, which the chances are you probably will be if you've got this, especially with the res delete, you'll probably get high teens, low 20s, as with most hot hatches. So in terms of performance figures in this thing, as I said earlier, 306 brake horsepower. There's also been a torque increase from the previous generation of Audi S3, which I believe is 20 newton meters of torque increase, and that gives you a 0 to 62 miles per hour time of 4.6 seconds, which is more than quick enough considering that Ferraris of the early noughties were actually slightly slower than that. I think the Ferrari 360 was around about 4.8, 4.9 seconds to 60. So it's crazy, you know, that a standard hot hatch is now coming up with those sorts of figures. So what we're going to do, get back out of town, get onto some nice roads, get some nice driving rolling shots. So Matt, you can jump out and organise them, and we'll do some nice launch control action and things like that as well. So we're finally out of the town and coming on to one of my favourite country roads. So we're going to see what this car is all about, and as you all know, I've got a real soft spot for hot hatches. So we're going to be doing a proper hot hatch series, and I know already that the S3 is going to be up there. I'm not typically a 4-wheel drive fan, but yeah, this thing really does go. So we're in dynamic mode at the moment, manual gearbox setting. I'm just dodging a bottle of Lucozade, and we're going to pop by this van just up here and see what the acceleration of this thing is actually like. Yeah, just does it with such ease. So as I say, dynamic mode, so added pops and bangs, throttle's a good bit more responsive, and I'm sure you can hear those gear changes there as well. I mean, for a 2-litre engine, it is very, very impressive. So figures wise, it's 310 PS, so 306 brake horsepower, which as far as hot hatches goes, more than plenty to play around with. And obviously the great thing about this engine as well is the tuning capability. So this car, Kenny has kept standard, I believe. Kenny, have you? Apart from the res delete and some spacers as well, I think you popped on. But apart from that, completely standard. And I know he was always debating whether he got it mapped, but you don't really need it. It is more than quick enough. So we're coming up to some twisties, so let's see how this thing handles in the twisties. It goes so well, such ease. Brakes are great, turns in beautifully. Gears, again, obviously, Dsg Gearbox, so quick, smooth, just instant gear changes. And yeah, very little in the way of turbo lag at all. It's pretty much instant. You've obviously got that kick down pedal as well. I'm in sort of manual mode at the moment, but even still, if I kick down, change that to second gear and just boosts, it is very, very impressive. I'm going to pop the window down a little bit to get a little bit more noise and try launch control in this beast. Fucking hell. Jesus. And that's, yeah, a wee bit more than 60 on this private road. But yeah, it goes quite interesting, quite a lot of wheel spin there though at the start, which is probably down to not having enough heat in the tyres. And yeah, maybe needing some fresh tyres, probably. Saying that, it's just had a couple of new front tyres put on it, so I think it's just more down to not having enough heat built up. So yeah, I'm going to go and enjoy doing some more driving because this thing is absolutely mega. I mean, when we're going into corners here, bit of brakes, it just corners beautifully. This is the exact same road that we were in with the 992 Turbo S cab, so it's interesting. They got a bit of trail braking, a little bit of back end action. Kenny's got a bit of a twitchy bum moment in the back there, but yeah, really, really impressive. And I take back what I say about four-wheel drive being boring. You can have a lot of fun with this thing. So thank you very much for watching. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode, which I think is going to be Porsche Taycan, which we did mention in the previous video, so we'll get out in that thing. And yeah, thanks very much for watching. Hit the bell button so you're notified. Subscribe, like, comment, share, do everything you can, and let's get some YouTube AdSense money. Matt, we'll buy some cars.